There's another reason that graph of e-commerce is going to go up, and that's this idea. The technology to you is whatever didn't exist when you were born. So a computer is technology to my 90-year-old dad. A Nintendo is technology to me. I can't thumb it correctly, right? But we have this whole generation of screenagers who were born at the keyboard, right? 80% of teenagers use the internet a startling 21 hours a week. 98% of college kids have purchased online versus just 50% of the rest of us, which is probably why Yellow Pages sales are projected down 40% in the next 4 years. I spoke at 2 of the last 5 Yellow Pages conventions, and last year when I was there, I just wanted to stand up and say, ladies and gentlemen, you're toast. But they paid me a lot of money, so I took about an hour to say that. But they are toast, okay? And you're not going to catch these kids with newspapers. The average age of newspaper readers in the U.S. is 54. But 73% of these kids are online every day. Look at this photo from the New York Times, the new readers. Dad with a paper, mom with a book, kids with Macs. Okay? They're reading just differently. Have you seen the new Monopoly game that just came out? No paper money. It has a debit card. Hard for people my age to understand. So today's graduates are tomorrow's customers, and the internet is clearly going to be key to their business relationships. Technique follows technology. Technique follows technology. Alexander Graham Bell thought the telephone would be a tool for the deaf. Edison thought the phonograph would be a dictation machine. They didn't know how their technology would be deployed when they invented it. There's actually a good example from warfare. You know, war for centuries was men with swords who'd line up and charge each other. And then with the invention of the blunderbuss, they kept lining up because it didn't really hit anybody. Now, with the invention of the long rifle, lining up got to be quite a bad plan. Right? And in the Revolutionary War, we started hiding behind trees. But the British kept lining up. And they had that uniform with the white belt that looked surprisingly like a target. So it takes a while for technique to catch up with technology, right? And we don't know where technology will take us. The inventor of the fiber optic cable, because he worked for Bell Labs, certainly knew that he would change the face of telephony to higher quality and we'd be carrying video, right? But as those cables were pulled around the world, knitting together continents with high-speed data and telephony, I'm sure he had no idea that he'd throw thousands of people in the U.S. out of work and create a new middle class in India and the Philippines. Or when Martin Cooper invented the cell phone, I'm sure he had no idea that by this time we'd have 265 million phones in the U.S. We'd be talking 2 trillion minutes a year on them. What did we do with that time before? Or that Kenyan fishermen 3 miles offshore Mombasa would discover they had cell reception and they were able to check market prices via SMS, text messaging, and choose the port based on price and thereby gain market power through text messaging. Or when Al Gore invented the internet. or whoever. Did he think it was going to be our travel agent, our post office, our bank, our real estate agent, our meeting place, or our newspaper? No. And I suspect he didn't know that I'd be able to go on kiva.org and make a loan to a tailor in the Ivory Coast and watch with others as his business succeeded and he repaid the loan. So we don't always know where technology will take us, and technique does follow technology, but with the internet we're getting the technique. You know, 80% of home buyers search first online, 150 million travelers look for travel online. We're getting the technique. The other difference between Web 1.0 and Web 2.0 is Web 2.0 is the web powered by all of us. Web 1.0 was read-only. Web 2.0 is read, write, and comment. Well, blogs are a good example. We've been blogging as a human race forever. That's social expression, right? I mean, that's kind of blogging in a way. I love this cartoon. I had my own blog for a while, but I decided to go back to pointless, incessant barking. Some blogs are like that. But think about it. It's changed the world. It used to be the brand talking to the customer. Now it's the brand, the customer, and the community. You may not blog, you may not want to blog in your company, but you better be reading what the blogs are saying about you. Dell has a force of people who listen to that because, as Chris Anderson said, the ants have megaphones, right? They have a big voice. They can change things on Twitter and Facebook. And Facebook is pretty crazy. My daughter just spent a year going around the world after she got out of college. I think she sent us 3 emails. If we wanted to know where she was, we had to go to Facebook because it was easier for her to update everyone at once. And some companies are on Facebook, like LL Bean. People are experimenting. Nobody's really making any money yet. Other people have realized that social media can work on their own site, like Sheraton, who realized that people don't have to come to their hotel. They may come because it's on the beach or next to a ski resort. So come on to Sheraton.com and tell us a story about why you stayed in our hotel. That's a different kind of social network. Or Dell, who has their outlet store where they sell all the used, refurbished computers, is now on Twitter. It makes sense, immediacy. People want to jump in and buy that thing as soon as it's online. So there are a lot of things coming through with social media. I think the most interesting, perhaps, is the fact that YouTube is now the 2nd largest search engine, right? Broadband has allowed this to happen. And YouTube has done a wonderful thing for those of us who are marketeers. It has dumbed down the quality of video we will accept, right? We will watch really stupid videos of low quality, right? So here's an example. This is CNET. They review a lot of technical products. Most of you know CNET. So watch this little review.
Hi, I'm Kent German. I'm an associate editor here at CNET.com. Today we're going to take a first look at the Motorola V265.
Okay, dorky guy, bad video, right? But it's good enough. So that's the point. If you don't have video on your website, you should, because videos are viral. Realize the technique follows technology. E-commerce is growing and kids are really important, right? We live in a wired world where information has found its freedom and buyers have more power than ever before. It's a world driven by speed, simplicity, and convenience. A world where you need to nurture that little flame, to create a culture of innovation if you want to move as fast as change is moving. Let people experiment and don't punish them. Support them, right? Think like the customer and realize you have to be a beacon because people are searching for your product wherever it is. Give them what they can't get in the physical world. Tell them what other people think. Simplify their lives like that little health clinic, right? Remember, it's a multi-channel world where you have to communicate their way, become part of their process, open all the doors, and make them work the same way, because customers are getting smarter. And in this disassociated world, the only way you can know what they want and what they do is by measuring what they do. And build digital relationships, add them to the physical. The old world isn't going away, it's just getting more complicated. And we need to build digital relationships. There comes a time in your life when you have to open the door and let the future in. Now, I wish I could tell you based on that the radar screen of life is clear, but it's not. You know, the radar screen of life generally looks like this. We've got to navigate between all the storms. And, you know, a lot of it's about attitude. Brings me back to that out-of-focus world. It was Ronald Reagan who said, when we come to the edge of the known world, we're standing on the shores of the infinite. That's right where we are now, 10 years into the web, just starting this electronic world. We're standing on the shores of the infinite. And our attitude makes all the difference in the world. Do you want the best of times or the worst of times? You know, which one are you going to open up and read? A lot of people say the internet, the digital world is marginalizing their business. It's keeping them all in like this. The way to avoid being marginalized is to draw your own margins. It's to take the data you get from this conference and go home and change something. Make a difference. Recently, I went to the Galapagos Islands. The best vacation I ever had. As a travel agent, I highly recommend it. And that's where Darwin, of course, did the research for his great work, where he wrote about survival of the fittest. And I always thought survival of the fittest was about the lion. It was about the biggest, baddest guy in the jungle. That is not what he said. He said it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. The ones most responsive to change. I hope I've given you a few thoughts about change today, and I thank you very much. Thank you.